Hey everybody, it's CJ and welcome to another episode of Objection Celebrity Court Chatter. This is going to be our new morning show Monday through Thursday. So thank you everyone for spending the morning with us today. I know it's pretty early, but I also I love to check out my favorite creators later on in the morning. So I wanted to pick a time slot that didn't interfere with me sipping my own tea. So this will probably be the usual time slot. It'll be 9 Eastern, 8 Central time. I was going to do 8 Eastern, but I feel like that might be a little bit too early. But so yeah, welcome everybody for stopping by and sharing the morning. We're going to be going over all the stuff that happened with the subpoena over the weekend. Blake Lively has issued subpoenas to content creators. And we're going to just go over the latest update, including Perez Hilton. And that's why I have the image Subpoena Serena. He's got all the nicknames for her. And, that's one of his crazy nicknames for her. So I thought it'd be cool to pair it up since he has now entered the chat officially. TMZ had reported that he had been subpoenaed. But he hadn't received the official subpoena. So he emailed Ezra Hudson, who's Blake Lively's lawyer, to officially get, his subpoena, like, hey, what's going on? I still haven't been subpoenaed. And he's now received that. And so we'll get into all of that. And then we'll also get into the ex-creator who went on Flossom Talk to pretty much unmask herself on her own grounds because she was going to have to provide her identity to the courts anyway. So she decided to do it on her own terms and go on Shasti Flaw's her YouTube show, Blossom Talks. And so we're going to get into that, as well as what's going on, the latest with Blake. Daily Mail had an article last night on the latest with her saying that she is hiding out. So we're going to get into all that and some new cases, what's going on this week or over the weekend, things that happened with some celebrity cases that we had been following. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to go into the Subpoena Queen. And I love this image that was made by DFJ, who has been collabing with me on a couple shows. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up here. So she made this image of everyone who has been subpoenaed. It's the TMZ3, which was the 3 first reported by TMZ, which is Perez, Andy Senior from Popcorn Planet, and Candace Owens. Obviously, Perez had not received his subpoena when TMZ reported it, but he has now. So those are referred to as the TMZ3. Then we have the Google Sweet 16. And let me see if I can make this a bit bigger for you. Andy Senior is on that list as well. He also got a Google subpoena. This is everyone who was subpoenaed in Google. And we have Kirsty Flaw, obviously from Flossom Talks, Cassidy O'Connell, Lauren Knighty from Court of Random Opinion, Ashley Brianna Eve, Without a Crystal Ball, Existing in Tribe Kens, who's on TikTok, Astrology with Janessa, who's a super, super small astrology channel. The 9th person wanted to remain private. And then Sweet and Salty Lynn on TikTok, who went to high school with Blake, as well as Brett Douglas McDowell, who had entered the case with his connection to Ryan and Dogpool. If you guys don't know the Dogpool Ryan story, you guys should go check out Brett Douglas's X. And then Spill Sesh is the newest that just came out this weekend. She's a YouTuber with about 800,000 followers. She's super big. I have Colonel Kurtz over here on the chat. Thank you, Colonel, for the support. She's super supportive. She says, I want a subpoena, god damn it. So she's waiting for her subpoena, and she's obviously not in this list. Our last show, Subpoenas and Smear Campaigns, if you haven't checked it out, she basically, or we were talking about how she's on the list that's marked safe. And then we have the Twitter 20, which is 20 people on X. It should say the X20, but everybody still calls it Twitter. Is the spiritual shift, and our very own Leanne Newton, who, by the way, I sent an invite to and is waiting to come on. I just saw her below, so let's bring on Leanne. Leanne, you made
Hello.
it.
I did. Never,
I love the
never,
support
ever gonna
because
refuse
you've
your
also known and
invitation.
supported me for, since the very beginning, and I love that Leanne. Me and her have been. She's my Elsa to my Anna, and so I'm so happy that she can make it. I told her I'm starting to live my life in British time, so me and her can talk more because before I would wake her up in the middle of the night, and yeah, it was no fun. How are you doing this morning, Leanne?
I'm okay. I'm just polishing up my motion
Can you hear me,
to
Leanne?
quash. Yeah, can you hear me?
Is let me see if I can remove her and add her. Are you muted?
No, I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Something's going on with Leanne's sound. Can everybody
Oh,
else hear me?
hold on.
Can
Hold
y'all
on.
let me know in the chat if you can hear me? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let me try and remove her from the stage and then add her back on. Hey, Leanne, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, something must be wrong with her mic or something, because I cannot hear.
Can you hear me?
She spent all weekend working on her motion to quash while we see if we can get the sound. It's not muted. Let me figure this out. Hold on 1 second. Let me try to add her back on. Oh, she says I can hear you both. I can't hear Leanne.
Oh, can you hear me? Can anyone
Let's
hear
see,
me?
Leanne, can you talk? I can't hear Leanne.
Yeah, I can. People can hear us.
Yeah, that's really weird. I can't hear her. You guys can hear her?
I have to talk to CJ through the
Huh.
chat.
Let me see if I can't figure it out. Sorry, technical difficulties. Um, let's see. I turned my Bluetooth off. It might be going to my headphones. Leanne, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it's not even showing up that she's talking. Huh. It says she wants to make, Colonel says, I want to make content out of it, file motion, same as others. I just think it's odd I haven't gotten one, nor Zach. Yeah, exactly. It says
Okay, no,
Leanne
I'll
sounds
see
like
what I
she's
can do.
buried under a pile of subpoenas.
Yes, I am.
And then Laura is trying to join, but it says device not connected. I don't know what's going on, y'all. It's technical difficulties. I wish I could hear Leanne. Y'all can. Mondays are hectic, but I want to support. Thank you so much, Missy. You're always in here. I'll put you in my pocket and listen. Thank you so much. Yeah, me and Laura were saying that this might be good to put on Spotify or Apple Music and do a like a commute podcast type of thing where people can listen to it on their commutes. So everybody can hear Leanne except for me. Um, let's see. Let me ask her if she can leave and come back.
I mean, I can hear you, so I'll just do that.
I don't know. It might just be something on my end. Okay, I think she left and is coming back. So yeah, Leanne was working on her motion to quash all week, or all weekend. So I'm curious to know how that's coming along, if that's going to be filed today. So hopefully we can get her back into the studio. Let's see. Hey, Leanne.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm wondering why I cannot hear her.
Can you really not hear me?
Okay, wait. You know what? Now I can hear you.
Oh, good.
Okay, now I can hear you. I don't know what was going on, if it was trying to connect to my headphones, the Bluetooth was on. I don't know, but yeah. And then Laura, you're saying device cannot connect to add to you to stream. So I don't know what's going on with it. So yay, we got Leanne back. Okay, Leanne, sorry about
Hello.
that. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Well, good
I
afternoon,
woke
my
you up.
time.
No, you were already awake, huh?
Yeah.
Because it's noon over there.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, it's 2 o'clock. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how your weekend went trying to file that motion to quash.
Oh my God, I've been working on it all weekend. And when I say working on it, I mean it's the first thing I go to when I wake up. And then when I go to bed around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's when I'm putting it down for the first time.
Yeah.
So
So is that going to be filed today, or are you still working on it?
I am hoping it will be filed either later today or first thing tomorrow. It's written. I'm just polishing it up, and I am attaching the exhibits.
Okay. So possibly today, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah. Okay. If Colonel says it's funny, they're going to have a rude awakening when they see no one is being paid or instructed by Tag or Wayfair. So one of the things that had come out this weekend as well was, I believe it dropped Friday, right, where Ezra Hudson had written a letter to the judge saying that Blake Lively couldn't defend herself because Tag had provided a list and it was under attorney's eyes only, and this list was of paid creators, and so it created chaos among the community where everyone is like, you know what, we're not getting paid, and we don't know what Ezra is talking about. So the wording of the document was also very confusing, and I know Ashley Brianna Eve is going to go over that today in her
Yeah,
morning show, so y'all should head over there
yeah,
later on this
definitely.
morning to watch
Can I
what
just say
she
something
found.
about that document? Actually,
Yeah.
it does not make sense, and I haven't spoken to Ezra Hudson because she is just not returning a single email or call. She, everything that everyone is saying about how difficult it is to get a straight answer is 100% true. But one thing I will say is the people who seem to have managed to get some answers have been the ones who have instructed attorneys. So, people like Shusty and Without a Crystal Ball,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly Andy as well. I don't know what's going on with everyone, or what communications they've had specifically, but I am aware, that people who have made contact have been told the reasons why they're on a subpoena list. So this whole thing of, well, this attorney's eyes only thing, it's restricting us and we can't give reasons, that's bullshit. It doesn't apply at all here, because they have given reasons. I'm not saying they're good reasons, they're nonsense, but they have not turned around to the people who have asked and said, oh, I'm sorry, we can't tell you. They have made a point of saying, well, it's because Miss Lively believes that you are, paid to smear her.
Yeah.
So that if it can't be one thing and the other.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that they do in their legal filings, and we'll get into Perez Hilton being subpoenaed, and he said the same thing, is the way that they use words to like almost cause chaos in the filing to where you don't understand it and you're like, am I going crazy? Like, I don't get this. So we'll
Yeah.
get into that one. Colonel says, love these gals. I love
Well,
this duo too. I love it when Leanne can come on with me because we make a really good team. So
where
um,
we do.
yeah, so this is the little graphic that so far, has everyone on it. And I love that, we kind of have a visual of everyone who's been subpoenaed. So it's 39 people so far. And some of these we don't know. So we're going to get into, I wanted to bring up this image. Justice for Baldoni. If you guys don't follow this account, it's at Real Justice News. They have a website, and I'm going to be doing an episode on dockets and how it's the new way to get legal information. We have the Diddy docket. In the Damore Hadley case, we have the Damore docket. And so this person she built a website, the Baldoni Brief, and we'll look into it right now. But I wanted to pull this up. It's subpoena alert. Blake Lively appears to be ramping up legal pressure with reports suggesting up to 20 more creators could be subpoenaed. If confirmed, this may bring the total to approximately 37 creators, a pattern that some are calling her Subpoena Queen. So Subpoena Serena is a nickname Perez gave her, but there's also a song out. Is it Kirby that did Subpoena Queen? No, it's Shirsty.
Just
Shirsty
the
Flaw, yeah, did an AI song called Subpoena Queen, and I should have had it lined up because I always end with the song, but I'll make sure that I pull it up. So here's another one from at Real Justice News, Justice for Baldoni. She reported on the letter that there's already one motion to quash letter that went in over the weekend. I believe on Friday. It's Cassidy O'Connell at Cassidy OC. If you all don't follow her on YouTube, head over there. And then this is her ex as well. She filed a powerful letter to Judge Lyman, sharply criticizing attorney Ezra Hudson. She actually included an exhibit in there where she sent a letter to the bar, which, Colonel, I know that she also sent a letter to the bar.
Yeah, we will all sign. Well, there's a number of us that have signed that.
Yeah.
Agreement with that. So that's going to be on behalf
But
of.
do you guys remember when Colonel sent one about Ezra way in the beginning of the case?
Yeah, but
y'all remember that one.
I admire. I love it when Colonel does these things. but I
she's
mean,
going to be updating us on what's going on with that, or maybe like circle back, because I don't think she ever heard of it.
I mean, I don't know if she got a response. I never did kind of follow up with that, but I would have been surprised because I could understand just from working in the legal profession, like why that they don't, if they responded to every complaint or so and so from people who are not involved, then they would be just devoting all of their time and resources to doing that. So I would be surprised if there was an update or response, and maybe I'm not, but like certainly over here, unless it's something that is like directly affected you or touched you in some way, then they normally would kind of disregard it.
Okay.
But with ours, with one Cassidy sent for us, it's we are in this. We've kind of we've been named and identified and dragged into the litigation.
So it's like you personally being affected, yeah.
Yeah, I've literally.
Colonel
When
was
was the
trying to
last
be the
time I
voice
made
of the
my own
citizens back
content?
then. She was trying to like just, like, because I forget exactly, Colonel, if you're still in the chat. I know you're walking and not in the chat, but what was the exact reason that you had filed that one in the beginning? If you can say in the chat, but I get what you mean. You guys were directly involved, so it'll probably get more eyeballs on it.
And like for me, I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, and I won't. But I mean, some people have managed to make more content out of it. But like me, because what I do is there's been about half a dozen filings, and I missed that emergency hearing as well because I dial into everything as well, and I couldn't with that because if I've not been, even before I got my own, I was given a hand to a handful of people to help them put together their motions to quash or their, various letters of intent and so on and so forth. But now I've got my own. Like, when was the last time I've actually done a proper X post based on a filing? It's been like close to a week.
Yeah, because you've been so you've helped all the other creators, tighten up their filings. And I know Cassidy's she got a lot of compliments on her filing, so thanks so much for helping her. It says the letter, complaint, and motion are such a good read. She says everything we wish Justin Baldoni's lawyers would say to the judge, but probably can't. For those of us who have been following this case, this filing is like therapy to the soul. Thank you, Cassidy, for standing up to Blake Lively, Ezra Hudson, and Judge Lyman, and for defending the rights of everyday creators who deserve to speak freely without fear of invasive, costly, and abusive subpoenas. So yeah, you spent all last week pretty much helping, Cassidy as well as other creators, and then you got hit with yours on Friday, right? Or was it Thursday?
No, it was Friday. I found out about it from Spiritual Shift, who I know we're going to get to in a minute. But I wonder, to be really clear, Cassidy wrote almost everything that's in her motion to quash. That is hers. So I didn't have much to do. There's a few things that there's a few points I made, which I think when we did the read through on her live, she actually pointed out, oh, look, Leanne did this, Leanne did that. And I did I looked through it all, and I did the research on the case law and the statutes and everything, the rules that were cited. Ashley's I've spent a lot more time on, because most of the American stuff we kind of, we used with, it mirrors Cassidy's a lot. But obviously, like myself, Ashley is an international citizen. She's Canadian. So we had to then bring in Canadian laws as well to sort of say, well,
You've been studying. I know you said you had all the law books out.
I know. It's a good job. When I was studying and when I was working, it was a good job I actually did so much in international law, because I've had to learn about Canadian law. But then I got my own. I had a message saying there's a typo, but I think it's you. And there is the Rule 45, the federal rules that cover civil procedure. Sorry, I've got a sore throat. It has what's called a substantial compliance test, and that clearly states that even a spelling error does not invalidate a subpoena where it is obvious who the subpoena refers to. And both myself, looking at it, it was literally just a number 1 at the end of my handle. So everything else about it was exactly the same. And I did do a type to search to see what would come up. Like, is there a Chiara J 200? And there wasn't. And not only was there not, the only account it suggested it offered was mine. And on top of that, Spiritual Shift herself made contact because she also read it as, this is meant to be you. So
so
I can't ignore it, basically.
you need a clarification, and there's not a lot of clarification coming out of Ezra Hudson's office. And I know that you were going to include that in your motion to quash that.
Yes,
there's not a lot of clarification. I know Andy called the reception when the Google subpoena went out, and then they try to use it against him somehow when it's like, okay, it was your people. And I'm glad that he did record it, because his gut feeling was telling him that there was something fishy going on, because his attorney had been told it was not real. And then so he wanted to double check and have it on record. So I'm glad he did that. But I wanted to show you guys the Baldoni brief. Like I said, I'm going to do an episode on it, and she's going to come on the show to tell us a little bit about, her motivation behind the site. But it has everything by date. It's like a timeline, and it has all the briefs in it. It's not completely done, but this is the one that she did for Cassidy O'Connell. Letter, motion to quash. She says, subpoenaed YouTuber Cassidy O'Connell, with help from YouTuber and UK lawyer Leanne Newton, filed a powerful letter to Judge Lyman, sharply criticizing attorney Ezra Hudson. And so if you look down, you can read it right here. And then let me just go to, so
this one I wrote as well.
Naydays files a notice of intent to quash. I think it's just taking forever to load, but here's
Lauren's letter I wrote as well.
Here's the website. Justice for Justin Baldoni runs on the Baldoni brief platform, built to expose truth in any case. So there's a timeline that's going with all the most relevant stuff here, if you see. So if y'all don't follow Justice for, give her a follow. It's, let me pull this tab again. It's at Real Justice News, Justice for Baldoni. And so we're going to have her on the show with all that. So Cassidy submitted her motion to quash. Lauren submitted her intent to quash. And then we're waiting on Leanne, who may submit hers. Who else is, Ashley Brianna Eve is also expected to submit hers either today or tomorrow, correct?
Yeah. I'll be back in a sec. 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. And so it says, we're going to move on to, those were the Google subpoena people who are already putting in their motion to quashes, but we're going to move into the Spiritual Shift, who was one of the ex-users. So Leanne was one, and Spiritual Shift was the other one. DFJ writes, here's a clip I made from an interview on Flossom Talk, where she noticed why attorney at KRJ 2001 was possibly not notified. So we're going to play this quick clip, which is what Leanne was talking about. So Spiritual Shift was anonymous, and she decided to unmask herself on Shirsty's channel. Shirsty's also one of the Sweet 16 Google subpoenaed. And so she went on her show to basically unmask herself on her own terms. She said that I'm going to be unmasked in court paperwork. You can't file anonymously. Obviously, the judge has said that can't be done unless you have a lawyer who can file something to show that the public doesn't have a right to know who you are. So it might be a little bit more complicated. So she just decided to come out on this show. So if y'all haven't checked out this interview, it's on Blossom Talks. And I just realized it has an extra A. I'll have to fix that in the description. But so I'm going to play this little clip.
Can't hear it.
So yeah, so she was featured there, and she explains how crazy it was. I know that DFJ, it's her Roman Empire. Leanne, are you back? Or no, she's
Yeah,
okay,
I'm here. You know, you couldn't hear the sound on that.
Oh, you couldn't?
No.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me know. I don't know what's going on with the sound. I'm having sound issues today. Sorry. Well, at least it had captions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out because I did have another video to play. What's going on with that? So we'll see if the next one plays okay. Basically, DFJ is saying that that's her Roman Empire, is the fact that your name was smeared, that she thinks that there was some kind of nefarious reason for that, allegedly, because
Yeah.
there's, according to Spiritual Shift, all the other names were clear except for that one.
Yeah, and also because of the typo, which still does not render the subpoena unenforceable by any stretch. It does not. But it also effectively meant I didn't get any notice, and had Spiritual Shift not said anything, I would not know. And me and Spiritual Shift, we are the only people who have actually publicly said out of 20 people we're on this list. Like, where is everyone else?
Yeah, and she said on Flossom Talks that some of those accounts, because she got the full subpoena with the names unredacted, right? And she said some of those accounts were suspended X
Yeah.
accounts. So, and she also said that she didn't recognize most of those names, and the community is pretty close. We're a tight knit community, especially on X. We kind of know all the names of people who are reporting on it, and so
Yeah, we do.
I also found that a little weird that it was names that were not recognized.
No, she did say, like, I did hear her say, many of the accounts were either suspended or they were like no longer, they no longer existed, which is then weird then because it's kind of boiled it down to really 2 people out of 20 on that list who are still active, we confirmed active on X, who are talking about this account, and only Spiritual Shift seems to be the only person who has had an actual copy of the subpoena.
Yeah, and you are still waiting for Ezra to email you back if, that was you, and if so, give you the copy of the subpoena. I know a lot of people had emailed her, and I'm not sure anybody got it directly from Ezra. I believe the people who did get the subpoena from Google was directly from Google replying to that email.
No, they did. I think Manat did, because remember I did that I did that email where I copied in every attorney on the docket.
Joe, did you guys try to contact the other 18? We don't know who the other 18, only Spiritual Shift knows who the other 18 are because she's the only one that has the unredacted.
Oh yeah, no, I have not seen. I have asked for a copy quite a few times actually, because I could do with, knowing what I'm going to be arguing against, but I haven't had one, I'll just say that.
The subpoena is for Google and X. No, yes, it's Google and X, and then there's the 3 creators who are being really, really subpoenaed
Individually
individually.
subpoenaed.
Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, and so I don't know if this video is going to play, so maybe I'll just talk about maybe I'll just talk about it if you guys can't hear the sound. So we'll test it. I need to figure out what's going on with the sound, but we're going to get into Perez Hilton, who was subpoenaed in the original TMZ3, but TMZ reported that he was, yet no process server ever got a hold of him. Remember, TMZ reported it a day before anybody got served. The next day, Candace and Andy got served, but Perez never did. He ended up having to email Ezra and being like, hey, I heard that you're trying to subpoena me. And I believe that's how he ended up getting it. So he made a video. Shout out to Perez, who's been supporting creators.
Yeah.
He was on Leanne's channel and, telling everybody to fight on and all that. So, yeah, he made a video saying, Blake Lively just served me a subpoena. This is insane. And the part of the video that I wanted to share was where he says how complicated it was. It says request 1 and 2 were exactly the same, worded exactly the same, to where he was like, okay, wait, didn't that just say the exact same thing as the first one? And then request 3 and 4, one of them said not limited to, and then one of them said limited to. And it was the same stuff, the same verbiage, except for one said not limited to, and then the other one said limited to. Hey, just snooping. Thanks for stopping by. It says, Molly says, including the 2 Wayfair ladies they're trying to subpoena, they have incorrect information for them. How do they get that? Is he talking about Butler and the tag employees? Which Wayfair ladies?
Oh, no. Hold on. Let me just get onto the docket because it's recent.
Is that the one he's trying to subpoena through Instagram? Oh, the HR employee, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, hold on, I got it here.
That they ended up taking service for because she wanted to subpoena through Instagram. And it was funny because we were talking about it on Leanne's live, and Perez was in there, and it had just dropped, and I mentioned to Perez, you better be careful. They're going to subpoena you through a comment in this video or something. We were joking about, what else are they going to say you're allowed to subpoena over? Let's see.
Derbler McNeese and Cynthia Barnes Slater.
So let's see can you guys hear the sound on this?
Just served to me today.
Can y'all hear that?
I am representing
Okay.
myself. I don't have a lawyer working with me on this, so it's going to take me some time to thoroughly digest this, and I have 14 days to officially respond. But right off the bat, the wording of this is extremely problematic. The way this is written by her high-paid lawyers makes it seem to me that they're asking for all agreements that I have had from today back through May of 2024. All agreements.
Okay, I don't know why it's buffering, but I love the funny face it buffered on right there. But yeah, so let me pause it there for a second before we go into the second part where he talks about the verbiage. But he basically says that they're asking for every agreement, and then he goes into being like, I have an agreement with my phone company to pay the bill. Like, what are they talking about? They want every single agreement from May 24th. He's like, I have my power company. I agree to pay the light bill every day. Like, do you want that agreement? So he gets pretty cheeky with it. But okay, so this is the part, I believe, where he gets into the
request for production number 3. All documents and communications regarding your digital, online content creator or influencer services or strategy concerning the consolidated action, Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds, any Wayfarer defendant.
And one of the weird parts is all these subpoenas mention Ryan Reynolds, who is no longer a party to the case. So I just want to mention that real quick.
Digital campaign marketing.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say on mine, and I know the Google ones. They're dated the 3rd of July, and they expressly state Ryan Reynolds, who is a party to this action, a month after he was dismissed from it.
Yeah, that is the weird part. So I'm glad that you have the exact date. So July 3rd is when they went out, and he
Yeah.
was dismissed. Do you have the date of when he was dismissed? But it was
Yeah,
what?
my birthday. It was June 9th.
June 9th. So June 9th he was dismissed, and then July 3rd he's still in all this paperwork. So let's
plan the film in connection with or on behalf of the Wayfarer defendants or their counsel. For the avoidance of doubt, this request includes circumstances in which any Wayfarer defendant or their counsel or anyone acting on their behalf provided you with any information that you included or relied on in any of your content on whole or in part, including but not limited to as a blind item.
So it said included but not limited to on that one. And so basically what they want is their sources. I mean, Perez and Andy and Candace are all, legitimate, journalists established to where they are going to have sources who come to them with things. So they want to unmask their sources, pretty much is what it's saying there.
I might have to meet and confer with the lively parties because once again, the wording here is confusing. What do they mean or are implying by my services? My services?
I love his faces.
I just went up above where they go through the definitions for everything, and they did not define services.
And that was a thing that created chaos in the community too, with when subscriber wasn't defined in the definitions. And so then everybody was thinking that it was asking for the username subscribers information. So anybody who did super chats or anything like that, that it was going to delve into their bank account info. And that created chaos for a couple days.
And can I just say, that's by design, because those are key words. She's defined every other word except the most critical words. And look exactly what's happened is people, either it's to get everything, confuse Google, well, what do we mean by subscribers? Well, we'll err on the side of caution because it's a subpoena, which can be subject to contempt of court. So we will give you, all of Andy's 980,000 subscriber information. Or it's to make people think that's what's going to happen, and people suddenly start unsubscribing. Not that would make a difference, because the information they want goes back to May anyway, and that includes anything that's deleted, for instance. So yeah, that chaos
it was designed. I feel like intended to cause some kind of chaos, because I remember there was some people in the chat who were like, wait, what? It was Andy's chat where people were like getting concerned about, wait, what about our private information? But I always thought it didn't make sense, because I was like, then wouldn't each subscriber have to be notified? But I'm glad you cleared that up, because for a while it was like, nobody really knew what it meant, but it was subscriber defined as someone who subscribes to YouTube to use the channel. So it was that user. Miley says that Perez has posted this all over Reddit and done a Q&A on it. It's all content for him. He's living his best life. And that's what Colonel said in the beginning. If you weren't here when Colonel was here early in the stream, she said she wants a subpoena because she wants to make content out of it. And
she's going to be in my motion to quash, so with her permission, by the way. But I'm not going to say why, but it's going to be an interesting read. But she may get one that way. But I agree. This is how often does this happen where ordinary people just get brought into this massive lawsuit that involves Ryan Reynolds? Why not live your best life and just
put it out there. And so I'm glad that he made this video, because this is something that all of us have also said about the wording in it. And that's what was so difficult about reading Ezra's filings. And Emily D. Baker always said that Brian Friedman in her video was saying that one of the good things about Friedman's filings and stuff is it's easy to read for a layman. You don't need to know like legal terms or anything. It's just like a story. It's just him talking and telling what's going on. Whereas Ezra and Michael Gottlieb would like switch around facts, where it was like the 30-point list and then the 17-point list. And that literally still to this day confuses people. And then just like their verbiage. So he goes on, I'm gonna play this last final piece so we can finish up with Perez, but he goes on to say how request 3, and then now he's gonna go into request 4, limited.
Fail. It's not funny. It's a fail. Request for production number 4. All documents and communications concerning any statements, talking points, scripts, theories, assertions, questions, advertisement, claims, or similar,
His face,
including preparation, revision, and timing of publication thereof, concerning the consolidated action, Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds, any Wayfarer defendant, the digital campaign, the marketing plan,
I don't know why.
the film that were made in connection with or on behalf of the Wayfarer defendants or their counsel. For the avoidance of doubt, this request includes circumstances in which any Wayfarer defendant or their counsel or anyone acting on their behalf provided you with a statement, a script, talking points, or any other information you included or relied on in any of your content in whole or in part, including but limited to as a blind item. Wait.
Limited to a blind, so not limited?
I had to read that again. Yeah. The last request said, including but not limited to as a blind item. This request says, including but limited to as a blind item. Ay, ay, ay.
So it's just so
this
funny.
subpoena is very
in that video over on his channel, but he goes into all the inconsistencies with everything. And so, you know, like Colonel said, it's creating content. So we'll see what other content comes out of that. It says Perez will be so happy that we're all redigesting his contents. Well, yeah, I wanted to in it because he's been so supportive of the community. So I was like, you know what? Let's give back for that. Who's proofreading this stuff? Yes, mildly. Who is
No, that's actually quite normal language. I was going to actually show you something. I'm just pulling it up. Can I show you this?
Yeah. Can you share the screen?
Yeah. I'm just pulling it up now.
Okay. Well, why would one say but not limited to, and then the other one says limited to?
Oh, just to open the door wide, like wide. Yeah, I'm gonna screen share, right? It sounds complex. I'm going to preface that, and it is complex, and I'd love to see what that subpoena says, you know, in its entirety, because I'd be like, vague as to theories, vague as to assertions, you know, and I'd be just, nope, don't understand. But this is an example of a lawyer's, how can I screen share? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Do I have to put it up on the stage? Hold on, let me look down here.
You might need to put it on stage.
I don't. Oh, here we go. Is this it? Yeah, Leanne. Okay, yeah. I can add it to the stage here.
I mean, this is a joke, but it's true. Yeah. Is it on the stage? I can't see now.
I gotta add it. Hold on 1 second. I had to remove that and then add this. Okay, there we go.
All right. So I don't know. Can everyone see this? But this is just a bit of comedy, right? And basically, it's an example of a Christmas card you would get from a lawyer. I can't tell you how many times I've sent this kind of stuff. And what it basically says is, Merry Christmas from your lawyer. And it is started with, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And then you can see all the what we call red lines, where it's just like redactions and, you know, caveats and everything. And it's been changed from, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to, I wish you, but in no way guarantee a reasonably Merry Christmas and or festive period, including but not limited to reasonably 12 months from the date hereof. Reasonably happy 12 months from the date hereof. And it's just, that's a joke. But when you hear the documents, like Perez just kind of went through it, that's really how they are worded. And it is complex. If you're not trained to read that kind of stuff and understand, well, what the hell are they talking about? It can be very complicated and overwhelming. He just needs to
that's
take
why he
his
said he had to
time.
sit with it, but he's going pro se with it. So I guess that's what happens when you go pro se. Because I know that, you know, when I would read Brian Friedman's stuff or even Fritz's stuff, and it was like straightforward. And even when it cited case law, it cited it in a way that was easy to digest. Like it had a little caption and everything. And, you know, I like to go and look them up and stuff. But for those who don't have the time to look it up, it would actually have like a quote from it and stuff like that. So it was really straightforward and easy. But yet Gottlieb's and Hudson's, it was just, maybe it was too legally technical for the layman to read. But
And
I
there's no
appreciate
need for it to
bringing
still
that up,
be like that.
that image, because it really did help. It's just legalese. That's what it is. Like we don't get.
Yeah, it's just pure legalese. It's an example though of how ridiculous, like, you know, like if we're even in normal things, it's funny.
Laura's like, it is funny.
But it's not when you've got a document in front of you which, you know, can result in contempt of court if you fail to comply with it within what is, you know, 2 weeks to find all of this and to, you know, to figure it all out. It's not a long time.
Cup of Tea says, I feel like Blake and Ryan just want to harass and bring down people who made influential content against them before they eventually have to settle. They know they haven't got a case. So we're going to get into a couple settlements in other celebrity cases. I don't think that this is going to be one of those because I feel like they're in too deep. I feel like they're in too deep and they're going to take it all the way. Why hasn't the judge come out and stated that those subpoenas are not part of his court? But they didn't come out of the court. And I know that's one of the arguments that's going to be made in some of the motions to quash, right? Didn't Cassidy make that argument?
Cassidy's made the argument. I mean, clearly she's right. So there's a couple of things. Sorry, the kids may come in and make a noise. I can't help that. It's holidays. Google is based in California. 1 second. I'm just going to shut them up.
Yeah, no worries. We'll read this from Chris really quick. One of pro Blake supporters on YouTube said yesterday that she's shocked that everyone who got subpoenas is not angry. Chris, it's because everyone's making content from it. Like Emily D. Baker said, they're, you know, making the content. And there are people who are angry. I know Lauren has made a video, you know, expressing her anger, especially, you know, with all the stuff that she's gone through. And I know that Ken's, I always want to be like the spatula girl, but I'm like, no, let me call her by her name. Ken's also made a video saying, you know, as a victim of DV and stuff, you know, going after her, how much, you know, that impacted her. So, you know, they're making the content and trying to make the best of it, I think, is what the creators are doing. So yeah, let's look at this one here. They cited Furry Puppet Studios, which meant Lauren had to say Furry Puppet Studios a bunch, and that was funny. So yeah, so let's
I'm back now.
Yeah, did you want to finish that thought?
Yeah, so my thought was right, so there's two things that have happened here is well, let's just assume we got the American citizens, right?
Mm-hmm.
The subpoenas are improper. They're in the wrong court, and the reason they are is because federal rule 44, only it gives a limit of 100 miles, right? So if Google, so from where Google is, you've only got 100 miles. Google is in California, X is in Texas, but the subpoenas have been issued from a New York court. And on top of that, like people like myself and Kirsty, our data, because we're Europeans, our data is actually held in the island offices for both X and Google. So we're like 3,500 miles, well beyond the 100 miles.
Wow. So that's going to be definitely an argument to be made there.
I've
It's
made it.
several
Yeah.
jurisdictions as well. So it's like
Jurisdictions is a problem because
someone stated it was similar to Van Zandt, like it had Van Zandt vibes to it. The way
I've
they went
called
directly
it.
to Google and stuff like that.
I've actually called it a spam subpoena. And the reason, I'll tell you what the reason why I've done that, right? Because you've seen the motion to quash I've written.
Yes.
And I have made several arguments, but what I do kind of finish up with is, well, not finish up, I've actually put it in, but one of the points I've made is, like for myself as British, right? You've got to go through the Hague Convention. And we also have an act called the Evidence Proceedings in Other Jurisdictions Act 1975. It gives you a series of steps that, like a US litigant has got to follow to subpoena the data of a UK resident citizen like myself. And I basically kind of said, Miss Lively's counsel has not followed any of these steps. They've instead chosen to send out a series of broad and improper subpoenas to tech companies and cross their fingers in the hope that some companies may fall for it. They have effectively abused their subpoena power to create what can only be described as spam subpoenas. So it's like, when you get spam emails, right? And most people recognize it, but then they don't respond. But you'll get a few who might respond, give their information, send money, whatever. And what I've said is, well, do you know, you've done the same thing with these subpoenas. You've just sent them out. They're completely improper. They are very broad, but some tech companies, because it's got subpoena power behind it, they might actually fall for it and then hand out over data that she's not entitled to have. And then, yes, to me, it's an abusive process again, and I think it is right on track with Van Zandt.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have been, saying that there was the way that it was submitted, and the fact that for the X one in particular, the one that you got, it was due on July 16th apparently, and then it was emailed to people July 17th. So
Spiritual got it on 17th.
So I'm not sure if that was.
I'm 6 hours ahead, like 7 hours, 8. No, oh my, I'm 8 hours ahead, I think, of Spiritual Shift. So I was on live stream actually with Omar and Cassidy when I announced that Spiritual Shift had posted that there were X as like an X version of the subpoena. I actually stopped the conversation and said, "Oh, by the way, there's some breaking news."
And then when you got off the live, you thought you were just going to go to sleep. And
I was checking my email anyway. There was nothing there because I was like, "Oh, X, right, here we go." And I was expecting it, but there was nothing there. So I thought, oh, "Okay, then." But the next day, there was my message from Spiritual Shift. It had actually been in there from the start. In fairness, it's not like she waited. But because of the time zone difference, it was actually the 18th for me.
Yeah, so it was a little too late, but it did say that X had not provided anything yet, so it seemed like it was just
but
they refiled. Really quick, I want to read this from Laura, who said, Ken's, if anybody wants to support Ken's, she doesn't have a fundraising site, but she has an Etsy store where she's raising funds for, legal help with that. So Ken's is over on TikTok. It's at Ken's, at Existing to Thrive. If you guys wanted to go support her, she's one of the Google Sweet 16. But yeah, did you want to wrap up anything else on the subpoenas? Because
just to hit that point as well, because Google also says we haven't turned anything over, or the wording is we may have to, or
you might be able to answer
the X one is the same. The X one is the same. They can't just say no. It's a improper or not. You still can't say no to an improper subpoena. You have to go through the correct channels and challenge it in the court. So I anticipate that both Google and X will do that. I know that they have to, under the Stored Communications Act, that they have to be aware that we object to our data being disclosed under these subpoenas, and that is why we're doing the motions to quash. So then we're placing our objection obviously we're getting the chance to get some shit off our chest as well, if I'm being totally honest, and say it straight to Ezra Hudson, who is not responding to us in any other way, so she can do it on the docket.
And that's what was the most frightening part to me, was like it was her number listed on the Google stuff, and like you guys were
we
doing
didn't even get her number.
Oh, on the X one?
Didn't.
Okay.
No,
can you answer this one, Leanne? Because I'm not sure about the dates. It says, is the last day to send out subpoenas the 25th? Is that when discovery ends, or?
The 25th of what?
Thank you, Laura, for linking that.
Do you know when that is? The 25th of
July, or is it in August? I'm not sure. If anybody in the chat knows those deadlines.
No, I think it's in August.
Yeah, it might be in
August. I feel like
August.
it's the 15th.
August 15th?
Yeah.
But either way, if I don't, I'll for sure have an answer for you on tomorrow's show on that. It says he's saying July.
Okay, let me just have a look, because I would need a post.
Got more time, and it was August 1st. Because I did think she got like an extra day. But if not, we'll if Leanne can't find it here, I'll find out, and on tomorrow morning's show we can answer that. I wanted to move on really quick from the subpoenas to what's the latest on Blake, and Daily Mail came up with an article last night, an exclusive. Blake Lively's life in hiding. Allies tell why she doesn't want to be seen out, and who she's leaning on as famous friends desert her. So you guys go check out that article on Daily Mail Plus. I did get a couple excerpts. I don't want to give out the whole tea, because I do want you guys to go support Daily Mail. They've been really good about reporting, fairly in this case. And I know that some of the reporters are, involved. James Vitushka was, embroiled in all this stuff with Leslie Sloan. And then we have our very own Josh Boswell, who's been on Zach Peters' show. He's, amazing with his work and his journalism that he's done. He exposed, the work, the employment stuff that was going on with her website, which I always forget, Preserve. He exposed that, and there was a couple other stuff that he wrote that was really cool. So I do want you guys to go support to read the full article. But I got a couple of experts on. I thought it was really crazy that she's in hiding. So I'm gonna pull this one up. It says she's been avoiding public appearances. And so from what I saw, yes, in July, she hasn't had any public appearances. There was speculation about the July 4th Taylor Swift party, which we all knew she was not going to show up to. It says she's been avoiding public appearances, the source said, because she doesn't want to be seen out at restaurants or parties or anything to belittle the process of her lawsuit. Now, the chat can tell me, but is this crazy or what? Because she had been doing a tour and everybody had been telling her, like, girl, stay home. Taylor Swift did it when she had her $1 SH lawsuit against that DJ. She literally went into hiding for about a year. She only had 2 public appearances between the time the lawsuit was filed and when, she got the $1 judgment. And she only appeared, I think, once at the Super Bowl, like a Super Bowl party, and another time like something else that was already like pre-planned. But other than that, she was not out and about. When she got into it with Kim Kardashian is another thing I said on my smear campaign and subpoena show. When her and Kim Kardashian got into it, she left for a whole year. She wasn't out and about. She literally left for a year and then came back and, expressed it through her art, which is something that I felt like, Blake Lively should have done with the Justin Baldoni stuff, where people had already forgotten about it by December. And if you guys haven't watched Ashley's video from yesterday where she gets into Social Blade and stuff, I really want to have her on the show because I'm really good with the timeline and I know when everything was happening. Hey, DFJ, she's here, showed up. Hey, DFJ.
Hiya.
And so I'm really good with the timeline. And I know she asked yesterday when she was going through the Social Blade, she's like, it doesn't make sense that the smear campaign started in May when her numbers were still high. And it wasn't until February of 2024 when the numbers went low. So I'd love to like get on a show with her to match up the timelines and stuff. But I always thought she should have just stopped talking about it because it's a 24-hour news cycle. And everybody was saying that in December, or when she did the Social Blade stuff yesterday, Ashley was saying that in December, her followers were starting to go up again. So then they plummeted after, Baldoni came out with the lawsuit info and website and all that stuff. So I just found this not to be true because it says that she wants to respect the process of the legal system and not be out and about after she's been out and about literally flaunting for months and months and months. Right, Leanne?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, and if the chat, let's see, doesn't Blake know there is a profession called film critic in Hollywood? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're celebrity critics, and Perez was the OG of that. There's people, and once you're a public figure, people are going to talk about you and say things. So,
Can
yeah.
I just come back on that question about the subpoena deadlines?
Yes, go ahead.
I've got actually my handwritten notes in front of me from the dialing on that. It's August 14th, but Lyman moved it by a day to August 15th because it would fall on a Friday.
So there could still be more subpoenas coming. She's got a month. So, Colonel, you might just get what you want. Never say never. It says, I think around March, she was around 53 million on Insta. And I think around May, June, it dropped to around 48 mil. And then DFJ says it was when Kirsty's video dropped, which, yes, that's exactly when I pinpointed everything went downhill. It was no smear campaign. It was literally that video where people saw, what was going on. And plus, even before that, the book TikTok crowd had been going at her since she got cast, since it was announced that she was cast, even before any of the clothes stuff came out or the costumes. They were already going at her. So, so they're saying that she's basically going into hiding. I don't know if this is for the rest of the time of the lawsuit. She made a Get Ready With Me video. So I guess it's just about outings and not, going to her 90s parties and stuff like that. I guess it's not being visible on Instagram.
Is it true on that video that there was someone using the toilet behind her? You could see them in the mirror and they blurred
and then it got blurred. So I'm wondering, because somebody said Sweet and Salty Lynn had the unblurred one. But yeah, there's a blurred one. And I'm like, is this like marketing? Because you know how Ryan Reynolds, his marketing is a little crazy. I'm like, would he actually like think that that's funny to like, even if it's blurred? Because I thought initially it was just originally blurred. But to like, act like someone was like, I don't know. People said that it was to seem relatable too, because she had all that trash. It seemed like, I don't know if it was trash or what it was, but it was a bunch of stuff next to the bidet on the floor. And it looked like, he left the toilet seat up. So if you see it, the toilet seat is down and then you see the blur of somebody there. And then when it comes back, the toilet seat is up. So I can't imagine that it wasn't purposeful because, I mean, they looked at the video and stuff. Also clipping his toenails. Yeah, clipping the toenails as well.
How annoying is that, though? A man leaving the toilet seat up. I mean, how many times do we have to be told?
And maybe that's what his whole thing was. People, I almost vomited when I saw. I saw that. Yeah, Ashley was describing it to me, and she's like, eating a burrito while someone poops and clips their toenails, and I was like, ugh. Every time I just. All those 3 words, like I keep like,
my
can't even read it. Libby, you're gonna make me do the same thing. Someone was cutting their toenails on the toilet seat in the bathroom, and it was filthy. Yeah, it was so weird because I forget. Cassidy did a show yesterday where she's like, I'm sure she has a pretty vanity somewhere, So I don't know what all that was about. I feel like that was Ryan coded. What's next for Blake? Her deposition has been scheduled for July 31st, and an insider tells Daily Mail that she has welcomed the change of pace. Blake is happy that the clock is ticking a little longer before her deposition takes place. She's going to take this extra time and make sure she's ready for anything thrown at her. She's confident she'll be able to handle the deposition, and she won't be bullied because she is ready to tell the truth, her truth. Well, that's rich, her truth, right? Because is it the truth or is it her truth? What she believes to be true. I don't know. That's and every time I see an insider, I'm like, well, you all better be careful, Daily Mail, because you could get subpoenaed and that insider can get unmasked. So this whole case could set a bad precedence for journalists, not just big MSM ones like Daily Mail and stuff, but content creators who are, act as journalists as well. It could literally, like Leanne was saying in her stuff, it's a chill factor for people who, a chilling effect for people who, want to speak on things. And then what about people who want to go and say stuff to content creators, but now they're like, oh, what if it, comes out? Because it's always been a thing, like sources said, um,
Yeah.
and
And
you have
it's not,
that privilege.
and sorry, I was going to say the fair reporting argument. I mean, I know a bunch of us have not made that argument because the courts have made distinctions between, journalists, whether they be independent or part of legacy media, and content creators. But everyone should be really taking these subpoenas seriously, because anyone could be a content creator. It really sneaks up on you. But the ability to have that, be able to live in a world where we can talk about things so freely and have opinions on them or share experiences, that is literally under threat now.
Yeah.
And certainly for America, who are incredibly proud of their First Amendment free speech rights, and so they should be. And here in the UK, where we have privacy rights that match the free speech rights America has, and all of that. And it's not even just Americans it's affecting. That, like I say, there's myself here in the UK. There's Ashley and a couple of others in Canada. There are other jurisdictions, other countries where this is going to try and hit.
Sure, in Spain.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, in the EU. And it's wild. I can't believe, like, there's so many big things that have happened in this case. Like, if you take all the circus drama out of it, right? Hollywood bit, you've got the Section 47.1. That was going to be a case where first impression was going to come in. And I think if it had been a factor, it would have gone to the Supreme Court. That's how big of a deal it was. I think the New York Times come as close as they've been in 60 years to being sued again. I think it didn't take too much. I think I'm trying to find the right words. I think there was a fair argument for them to have not been dismissed. But, I do understand the protections for the mainstream media in New York particularly. But the argument to actually have them there in the first place was a decent argument, far better than many that have come and gone over the decades. And now we've got this. We have this attempt to intimidate and silence. We've got these wild subpoenas that are not improper and abusive subpoena power by attorneys. I mean, it's got everything, hasn't it, this lawsuit?
Yeah, it sure does. And it gets crazier and crazier as we go on. And just to piggyback off your point with New York Times, for me personally, I felt like with New York Times, it was different because I did feel like there was malice there where, and this is all allegedly, I have a little ticker that I didn't put up because I don't think I talked about anything. But for those who don't know, this is my little ticker, so I didn't get subpoenaed. I had put up, I felt like the New York Times, because you found the metadata and, there was further stuff found on the video that was basically saying like, this is what the truth of what happened. It's like, but the truth hasn't been established yet. So I felt like with their reporting, like, yes, journalists should have that, fair reporting privilege and stuff like that. But when it comes to something that was, done for months and months in a way to like basically smear somebody. I mean, the smear campaign originally started, I feel like, with, in my opinion, allegedly, with the New York Times article. Like, that is where I felt like it was the biggest smear was right there.
Yeah, and that's what my point was, is that actually there was evidence that this was a collusion. There was malice from the New York Times. That's what made it a different case from other cases that have attempted to go, into take the New York Times before court. But yeah, it's been completely and utterly mental.
Yeah, it's been so crazy. So we're gonna be updating Thursday. Well, obviously the show goes on every morning. I think we're gonna be doing 9 Eastern instead of 8 Eastern every morning. And so we'll update you guys, but for sure Thursday we're gonna do a roundup of anything else that's going on with Blake Lively, because this week I'm sure, like Leanne said, she's gonna submit her motion to quash. Others will probably be trickling in. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on that. I know we already went over the hour, but I wanted to really quickly go over these last little cases that I wanted to update on today's show, which was the 2 settlements that we've seen is Shannon Sharp, who we talked about in another show. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. Do you guys remember in one of our very first objection shows, Shannon Sharp was getting sued, and it was SH lawsuit that he said was consensual. It was an ex-girlfriend who they had kind of, kinky stuff going on between them, and she then filed a lawsuit against him. So that's one of the updated stories here is Shannon Sharp has settled in his $50 million rape and sexual, I don't know if I can say it, SA lawsuit. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit will thus be dismissed with prejudice, said attorney Tony Busby. Tony Busby of Colonel Kurt's fame. She would go at it with Tony, and he finally blocked her. But we know him as the Diddy civil lawsuit attorney. He's pretty much in a lot of stuff when it comes to celebrity. He's a big no name. But a lot of the lawsuits that get brought through him are a little sussy. So I know him and Colonel have gone on about it. It says the woman's lawyer said in a statement that all matters had been addressed. And so we don't know exactly how much it was, but she had initially asked for 50 mil. So we don't know if she got the full 50, if they settled for less. And it says both sides acknowledge a long-term consensual and tumultuous relationship. After protracted and respectful negotiations, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutually agreed upon resolution. And we had kind of predicted it in one of the last shows that I said her attorney hadn't showed up to court. And so we speculated, like, is it because there's a settlement coming or what's going on? So they had moved that court date, and then sure enough, the settlement came. So here's Shannon Sharp. I'm going to be on the lookout and possibly get with Ashley, because now that Ashley's been telling me about branding and all that, what's he going to do next as far as his rebrand after these allegations? Is he going to be able to go back to ESPN? I know he has his show, The Club Shay Shay, which was, worth a ton. I don't know if that deal is still going to go through where they were going to buy the show. So we're going to keep an eye on Shannon Sharp and see, where he goes. But for now, he's marked safe from anything legal. And then we also have the Justin Bieber financial settlement, which never went to court. So it wasn't technically a lawsuit, but it could have been, because Scooter Brown basically stated that Justin Bieber owed him money from when Scooter had let him borrow money after he canceled his tour. So Justin Bieber canceled his tour and he owed money. Scooter Brown basically fronted him that money, and then Justin allegedly never paid him back. And so it's saying that they agreed to $31.5 million settlement, which is about half of what was owed, and that they will be paying out of Hailey Bieber's Elf Beauty deal that went through in May, where she sold Rhode for $1 billion. Apparently, Justin Bieber had invested $50 million into the company, and so he's going to be getting a chunk of change. So a lot of people believe that he was just mooching off her for money and all that stuff. That it was incorrect. This article goes into how he was a partner. He had invested into Rhode, and so that was one of the other cases that had settled. Let me look at the chat real quick and see if anybody's... Oh, the Jared Leto accusations. I'm going to be following up with all that in our Thursday wrap-up show, where I'm going to be wrapping up all the cases. Didn't realize he invested. Yeah, so he invested into her company. it says, let's see who else is over here. Oh, good morning, Joy. Joy in general, always showing support. And then we have, just to end it, we are going to end it on Diddy. An update on Diddy, which I also had on here. Which basically, he's participating in a therapy program behind bars. I'm just going to play this little tiny clip really quick, quick update on what's happening with Diddy. Yes, he, got the one accusation against him for the prostitution, the Mann Act. And so this
is back in the news this morning as he's starting to rebuild his image. So according to TMZ, he's enrolling in self-improvement programs while he's in jail, awaiting his sentencing. These programs address violence against women, some other programs to help him out. This is during his very highly publicized case. We know he's taking these courses that help inmates focus on various things. They deal with prevention of sexual assault, prevention of domestic violence, prevention of dating violence. He's also getting drug treatment as well behind bars. So Diddy helping himself, apparently, and before the sentencing, and then he'll be able to present those things to the court at the time of sentencing. What effect it'll have, we don't know. But will therapy help Diddy?
And so that's what we're going to end with, that thought. If anybody wants to go, Leanne, do you think that therapy will help? Is this a rebrand for him? Do you think that he's only going to do, like a year in jail, and he's already working on his rebrand and, how he's going to be perceived when he gets out? Is this going to help him with the court of public opinion? What are your thoughts on all this? Leanne, are you still there? Can I just not hear her again?
I don't know why I'm shouting at the screen, hold on, when I'm trying to unmute, but
okay.
But therapeutic kind of strategies in rehabilitative, prisons is quite a common thing. I'm sure it is. He's going to try and rebrand it. He's a huge name, so he's not going to kind of go to jail, come back out, and then go and live a normal life, just a quiet life in the country somewhere. He's going to want to rebuild his career, and I don't blame him.
Just hearing that he's going into domestic violence courses and seeking, holding himself accountable, does that change your mind about him at all, or is it still the same?
I mean, I didn't really have too much of an opinion on him in the first place. I know he's done some stuff. Honestly, show me a rapper who's not embroiled in something. But I don't know the extent of what he's done, because I didn't follow this trial, and I didn't really follow him before particularly. I've heard things, but on both good and bad. But I'm not entirely surprised. I mean, it's always a good thing, and you want to encourage it where, they're trying to rehabilitate themselves and to work on themselves. Restorative justice is always a good thing to, a thing you can hope for, and it works more often than people realize. But you do get some who, will go through that kind of process time and time again and just not change. Maybe, yes, I do think he'll change his name. I think he changed his name like 1 million times already.
Yeah, and somebody wrote, I'm trying to get the song queued up for the ending. I'm going to do Subpoena Queen. Yeah, somebody said went from Puff Daddy to Diddy. Yeah, he does change, or just Snoopy was like, he'll change his name. I was really surprised during the trial to hear that how well a lot of people who had been through hell and back with him, how well they spoke of him while they were recounting the things that they had experienced and these horrific things, then in the same breath would say how how good he was of a person and how special he was and all these things. And for the women who were in relationships with him, you could argue that it's still some form of trauma bonding or Stockholm or something like that. But for those who were not in relationships with him, like his assistants and things like that, who just worked for him or whatever, I found it really strange. And to me, and it was crazy that they saw him as this good person. So I had made the assumption that maybe he wasn't this psychotic person, that he was just a drug addict and the drugs made him act the way he did. So to me, it feels like him going into therapy and all that stuff, it might take him back to the person that these people were talking about, where he was kind-hearted and, giving away money and all this stuff. And, maybe he will find some kind of retribution for his actions. But we are going to stay tuned to the Diddy trials that are upcoming with civil lawsuits. So remember, he's still got about 60 to 90 lawsuits, depending on who you ask. There's some people, compartmentalize them into the frivolous ones and the ones that actually might have legs. But yeah, so he's got tons of lawsuits. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. And we are going to leave today with our outro of Subpoena Queen. We always leave with the outro song, some kind of it's the new thing now, right? It's the pop culture music, and a lot of it is AI. Some of it, people are making. I know Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press. He goes, OG style with his guitar and does songs. Really quick before we get into that, though, I just wanted to put this image up this week. Please stay tuned to our show. Like I said, it's probably going to be 9 Eastern, 8 Central time every morning. Tomorrow we are going to deep dive. Hopefully Leanne can come on tomorrow, because I know she loves the Kanye stuff. We're going to dive into Kanye and the dentist story, and actually deep dive into the documents and all that stuff. So prepare you guys for that case. I know we've kind of, talked about it in the way that we've talked with other cases, where it's just like a little blip, but we're going to do a complete deep dive on him suing the dentist, and then his lawsuit. His personal assistant just a couple weeks ago added SH to her lawsuit against him. So we're going to be going over that. Wednesday, we're going to be deep diving into the Kevin Costner lawsuit, which is the next big one, I feel like, behind Blake Lively. So we're going to be introducing that case. I know we've done a little bit. Me, Laura, and Leanne kind of talked about it, but we haven't gone through the legal docs. And there's been an update with his accuser has filed more stuff to clarify. And this is, shame on ChatGPT. This is supposed to be Blake Lively.
I was like, who is that?
What is going on with the chin? But so this is supposed to be Blake. Case roundup will be on Thursday, where we'll be, recapping anything that's going on with the Blake Lively situation. Also the Trump Wall Street Journal situation. My friend Pam Entertainment is covering that. She did a video this morning that we'll be covering on Thursday. And we also will introduce the case of Dave Franco, that Donna Bowling. I'm going to go ahead and send you guys over to her. She's going to be covering it, but I wanted to kind of intro it and tag her channel so you guys know to go over there to check out that case. It's Dave Franco and his wife are in a movie called Together, a horror movie, and they're being sued because someone said that they showed him the movie, and they basically were like, oh, no, we're not interested. And then now they're making the movie. So it should be kind of interesting. She said, I thought it was Jersey first. It's Leanne. Look, it's Leanne. It's the blonde. I guess
it doesn't look unlike me.
Yeah.
Leanne's, you know, when I tell you a secret,
yeah.
When because when my motion is filed, I intend to do my own read through, and I'll probably do it before it actually hits the docket, so people will get that preview. And I'm still not going on camera because I'm just not there after everything. But I will be using a whole new photo. Very, it's not that my photo is out of date, but it's a very recent photo of myself. So there will be that, and it'll be color as well.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. Some new Leanne images. I know my picture is a little old. Not that old, like maybe 2-3 years. But yeah, so it says, yes, please do a preview beforehand.
I will be. I will. I will. As soon as it's filed, I know, at least know it's, it's like there's no problems and it's not going to get bounced back. Then I will be scheduling a live. CJ, are you joining me?
Well, yeah, I will for sure join you. You know me, I'm like, what is it? Blake and Colleen. We always look around. I'll go wherever you go. What is the quote? I forget the quote, but it's the Colleen Hoover. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
I'll go anywhere with you when Colleen was, they were talking about the book rights, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
Colleen
but
doesn't
where
own
the
book
book
rights.
goes, she goes. Wherever I'll go follow her.
I'll
wherever
follow
the
you
book
wherever
goes.
you go or something.
Yeah,
So I always joke with her.
She didn't know, did she?
Bio Music, I don't know if there's a baby announcement over here or what, but it's saying she doesn't want to rant, but good news, baby Manolo is a gem and Omas is fabulous. So congrats on that. I don't know the backstory behind that, but Bio, congrats on that. It sounds like a new baby or something. So yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. I had a good crowd, 100 people. I'm so grateful for all the support. It's a super small channel. We're just starting out. I got my content calendar together. So it's going to be Monday through Thursday. And then we'll have an objection sidebar, which is going to be the third show. So we have 3 shows from the objection brand. We have Celebrity Court Chatter, which is going to be in the mornings. And then tonight, please come and join us for Objection Crime Chatter. We're going to be introducing you guys to a couple of cases. I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to do, if I'm going to go straight into Barry Morphew or what, but I usually make the thumbnail super last minute, but go ahead and check us out for anything crime. We did Brian Koberger and Epstein last night, which was a really good show, if you guys haven't checked that out. But that'll be the content schedule. On the weekends, we will do sometimes a special episode on Sunday nights for the crime chatter. And then sometimes we'll do a special episode for the objection sidebar, which is just, I'm going to do the docket thing I was telling y'all about, featuring court dockets. I also heard back from, this is a spicy little news. Jane Rosenberg, who was the courtroom sketch artist for the Diddy trial, really big. I mean, she's been featured in New York Times and all this other stuff. She actually got back to me and said that she is willing to be on our show to discuss the courtroom art. So she's kind of a big deal, and I'm hoping that I can secure that. She told me to circle back around when the trial ended. So that's also going to be a sidebar episode. Laura, who is our mod, she does oil painting. So she's going to be on with us to discuss the art. And I have courtroom art on Instagram as well, who's going to be, it's someone who posts courtroom art on their Instagram account. They're going to be joining us as well. So we'll have that for sidebar. And then I also wanted to do a deep dive on bots in the sidebar and what, the human bots versus the old school, bot farms and all that stuff. I thought it'd be interesting to get into that. So sidebar will just be like stuff that's adjacent to legal cases, but not necessarily legal cases, just topics that I want to get into. So without further ado, I'm sorry, because I know DFJ always gets on me like, don't you have premium? I have premium, but not on the Citizen Journalist account. So bear with me while add real quick.
Can I just quickly
as
jump
we
in?
Exit really quick to Subpoena. Say a little tiny bit of it. The full song is on Shirsty Blog. Oh wait, okay, hold on, let me add it.
And that's the date of the payment clues. But what's the charge? What's the crime? Just telling the truth in real time. She don't want her text exposed, but she wants our bank info. Creators now in a scope, but I'm still here, I won't go. She's the subpoena queen, trying to check my screen. Wants my IP, my bank, my search routine. Calls it justice, I call it obscene. While she's stuck in a depot behind a privacy screen. Subpoena queen.
Get it, y'all.
Oh, Blake, you're
I thought that was sketchy, but Subpoena Queen is the jam. Do you want to say any last words, Leanne, before we check out?
Yeah, just really, really quickly.
Plug your live. Anything else that you want to plug?
Yeah. So I'm not going to catch up. There's a bunch of filings I've missed with all of this stuff going on. I'm not going to catch up with them. However, my plans are going to be to do my live on my own motion. We're also going to do, me and CJ got our little side piece.
Oh yes, please plug that. Yes.
Yes. We're going to be doing weekly episodes of absolutely hilarious and absurd, funny laws and lawsuits that are, laws that are still in place. We did give a snippet of that, didn't we, on my show?
Mm-hmm.
and that was quite funny. From around the world, so that's going to be interesting, and just the weirdest lawsuits. And yes, there are some that are weirder than Blake Lively's. What was the other thing we were doing? But I'm gonna
be with Cassidy O'Connell, old school.
Ooh, yes, Cassidy O'Connell. I'm going to be doing historical, infamous crimes like Jack the Ripper, the Gunpowder Plot, and stuff like that. And I will be so that's another side adventure. And I'm doing the 7M lawsuit, which is where Without a Crystal Ball is a defendant. So I'm covering that. And I will be back to normal, picking up the filings now, going forward with Baldoni.
Threads. We missed them.
I know, right? It's been a week.
Colored hearts and all that stuff, because we want you back on X. I know both of us have kind of transitioned a little bit to YouTube and kind of left. I know that this weekend I was mostly like repost account. I know a lot of my followers had messaged me when I took a break and I started just reposting. They're like, "You're just a repost account." But we're kind of, transitioning, going everywhere else. And make sure to follow Leanne, the YouTube link. Laura has linked it in the chat. She's got a bunch of cool stuff coming up. And if you guys haven't checked out her, live reaction of when she first got subpoenaed over the weekend, me and her went on live. She needed her Anna. We went on live and she shared her story, which was real powerful. If you have not listened to that, please go check that out. I appreciate you, Leanne. Bio says, thank you. This community is awesome and so loving. Coming here makes me so happy. Yeah, and we're happy to have all of you guys here. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Yeah.